What if true strength wasn't about force, but about calm, effortless power? Imagine moving through life with precision, flowing with every challenge, emptying your mind to free your body, and achieving more with less effort. Picture responding with clarity instead of reacting in chaos, letting function guide form, embracing subtle influence rather than loud domination, and turning conflict into harmony. This is not theory, it's a way of living, a path to mastery that transforms tension into flow, struggle into efficiency, and uncertainty into control. Are you ready to discover the power you never knew you had? Power is not measured by how much you can push, lift, or strike. True power is found in the moments when your body is at ease, when your muscles are relaxed and your mind is clear. Many people believe that to be strong, one must be tense, rigid, and unyielding. But this is a misconception. Tension only slows you down, makes your movements predictable, and drains your energy. The strongest force is born from a state of calm, a body that is ready but not forced, a mind that is aware but not burdened by unnecessary strain. When your muscles are loose and supple, they respond faster and move with greater precision. The energy flows effortlessly through every limb, every gesture, every step. A clenched fist may seem powerful, but it is limited. A relaxed fist, guided by focus and intent, can deliver an impact that is far more effective. It is the difference between striking out blindly and moving with intention. This principle is not limited to physical strength alone. It applies to thought, emotion, and presence. A mind consumed by tension cannot see clearly. It reacts instead of observes, fights instead of adapts. Relaxation is not weakness. It is the channel through which strength becomes limitless. Consider water. Water does not strain, it does not fight. Yet it shapes rocks, carves valleys, and flows with unstoppable force. It is gentle, yet it is powerful beyond measure. When we align ourselves with this principle, we discover that control over our actions comes naturally. We do not need to struggle against our surroundings or force outcomes. The calmness in our body allows for swift, precise action. The clarity in our mind allows for smart, timely decisions. Many of us are trained to believe that effort alone equals results. But effort without awareness and relaxation is wasted energy. When you are tense, your movements are jerky, your reactions delayed, and your endurance limited. By contrast, when you cultivate a relaxed power, each action carries efficiency and purpose. You move with speed and strength, but without the unnecessary weight of rigidity. You are like a coiled spring that has the potential for explosive release, yet remains poised and controlled. True strength is therefore invisible. It is felt, not flaunted. It is known through action, not by the loudness of force. Those who understand this principle can move through challenges with grace, overcoming obstacles not through brute effort, but through mastery of self. Remember, the body that is tense is trapped. The body that is relaxed is free. In this freedom, power is born. Relax and your strength will find you. Control is not about dominating or overpowering. Many people equate mastery with conflict, thinking that to assert yourself, you must push harder, fight longer, and resist more. But true control does not come from force. It comes from understanding, adapting, and moving with the moment. Life is not a series of obstacles to smash through, but a flow to navigate. When you resist, you expend energy unnecessarily, creating tension and friction that slows your progress. When you flow, you conserve your strength, respond with precision, and achieve more without the struggle. Imagine a river encountering a rock. The water does not stop, it does not rage against it. It curves, it shifts, it finds the path of least resistance. In doing so, it maintains its power, it preserves its energy, and it continues forward with unstoppable momentum. Control, like water, is found in adaptability. To move with life rather than against it, is the mark of true mastery. When you learn to flow, you do not react blindly to every challenge. You observe, you read the situation, and you respond with clarity and purpose. Your actions are neither hasty nor forced. They are precise and effective. Conflict arises when we insist on imposing our will rather than understanding the world around us. We often mistake struggle for strength, believing that resistance proves our power. But resistance fragments energy, clouds judgment, and binds the mind. When control is sought without understanding, it becomes an illusion, a brittle force that shatters under pressure. To have real control is to move without conflict, to align your actions with circumstances, and to act with calm confidence. It is to recognize that force alone is temporary, but harmony creates lasting influence. This principle extends beyond the body into thought, emotion, and interaction. Anger, rigidity, and impatience are forms of resistance that weaken us. Calmness, awareness, and flexibility are forms of control that empower us. In conversation, in decisions, in every movement, the same truth applies. The less you struggle, the more effective you become. A moment of stillness often carries more impact than 1,000 moments of frantic effort. A mind at ease can perceive opportunities that a tense mind cannot. A body flowing with intention can act with speed, precision, and strength that would be impossible under strain. Mastery is therefore not measured by confrontation, but by how well you move through life without unnecessary conflict. It is not the loudest or the hardest strike that wins, but the one delivered with perfect timing, guided by awareness and understanding. To control without conflict is to achieve more than force could ever allow. It is the quiet mastery of energy, the subtle power that cannot be resisted, and the art of moving with the world rather than against it. Flow, and you will find control. The mind is the source of all tension, all hesitation, and all limitation. When the mind is crowded with doubt, fear, or distraction, the body cannot move freely, and strength becomes trapped. To act with clarity and purpose, you must first empty the mind, release the clutter, and allow awareness to emerge. Presence is not simply noticing what surrounds you. It is a deep attunement to every movement, every sensation, every possibility. Only then does the body respond effortlessly, like a well-tuned instrument playing a song without conscious strain. Too often, we carry invisible weights, expectations, regrets, worries, that make every action heavier than it needs to be. We tense, we brace, we fight against what is, rather than moving with it. But when the mind is clear, the body flows. Actions become immediate and precise, guided not by hesitation or fear, but by understanding and intent. This is not a philosophy to be read or memorized. It is a practice to be lived. Each breath, each step, each gesture is an opportunity to let go, to release control in the sense of forcing, and to allow power to arise naturally. Consider the movements of a skilled martial artist or dancer. What appears effortless is the result of a mind fully present, of attention focused yet free, of muscles relaxed yet responsive. The power comes not from brute effort, but from alignment, timing, and a deep connection between intention and action. When the mind is clear, the body knows what to do without hesitation. When the mind is crowded, even the strongest body falters. Presence is the bridge between thought and action, and relaxation is its foundation. This principle is not confined to physical motion. In every encounter, in every decision, the same truth applies. A mind weighed down by fear reacts impulsively. A mind free from clutter perceives opportunity. A tense mind struggles, resists, and limits its own potential. A relaxed mind adapts, moves with intelligence, and achieves more than effort alone could ever accomplish. By emptying the mind, we open the door to creativity, intuition, and a deep, flowing strength that cannot be found in rigid control or relentless striving. The paradox is simple. To gain control, one must first let go. To move with power, one must first release tension. To master action, one must master stillness. The mind and body are not separate. They are one system, and their harmony determines the quality of every action. When clarity replaces clutter, presence replaces distraction, and calm replaces tension, strength emerges naturally, effortlessly, without strain or struggle. Empty the mind, free the body, and you will act with the power of simplicity. Efficiency is the essence of mastery. Many believe that the harder they push, the greater the results will be. But effort alone is not strength. True effectiveness is measured not by how much you do, but by how wisely you do it. There is power in simplicity, in focusing energy where it matters most, and letting go of what is unnecessary. Every wasted motion, every excessive effort weakens you, slows you down, and clouds your mind. By learning to do more with less, you create a rhythm where action becomes effortless and impact becomes precise. Observe nature. A bird in flight expends energy only to rise, to maneuver, to glide. Every flap is purposeful, nothing is wasted. A tiger hunts with the same precision. Every muscle, every motion, every breath serves the single purpose of the strike. There is no wasted effort, no tension, no hesitation. The force is concentrated, the movement deliberate, and the result undeniable. Humans often move in contrast, overthinking, overstraining, overcomplicating. We try to force outcomes that could be achieved with less struggle and more alignment. Mastery is learning to find that alignment, to channel energy where it is most effective, to act without excess. Efficiency is not weakness, it is intelligence. It is not laziness, it is understanding. The more we force, the more we tire, the more we control, the more we resist. But when we act with clarity, with focus, with minimal strain, each movement carries maximum effect. Every gesture, every step, every decision becomes a statement of power. You do not need to overexert to be effective, because true impact comes from precision, timing, and awareness. It is the difference between striking blindly and striking with exact intent, between speaking in haste and speaking with resonance, between struggling to achieve and moving effortlessly toward what is needed. This principle applies not only to physical action, but to life itself. In relationships, in work, in thought, the same truth holds. Focus your energy on what truly matters, release what is superfluous, and watch as your efforts multiply. To do more with less is not about doing nothing. It is about acting with wisdom, purpose, and understanding. It is about knowing when to engage and when to step back, when to push and when to yield. In every moment, efficiency amplifies strength, conserving energy while maximizing results. The paradox is profound. When you stop forcing, you gain control. When you stop exhausting, you gain endurance. When you stop overcomplicating, you gain clarity. Effortless action is not passive. It is deliberate, intelligent, and powerful. It is a demonstration that true mastery lies not in struggle, but in flow. By doing less with intention, by moving lightly but decisively, by focusing energy where it counts, you achieve more than brute force could ever deliver. Do less, focus deeply, and the power of efficiency will guide your every move. To respond rather than react is to step into a higher level of mastery. Most people live in reaction. They are pushed and pulled by circumstances, emotions, and the actions of others. When you react, you surrender control, letting outside forces dictate your energy, your timing, and your focus. Reaction is immediate, often impulsive, and rarely precise. It carries with it tension, hesitation, and unpredictability. Responding, by contrast, is the art of awareness. It is observing clearly, understanding fully, and acting with intention. It is not slow or weak, it is swift, decisive, and unshakable. Form without purpose is like a river that flows but goes nowhere. Many people are captivated by appearances, by the shape of their movements, the style of their technique, or the image they project. They believe mastery comes from imitation, from rigid adherence to form. But true mastery lies in function. Every movement, every action, every decision should serve a purpose. When form follows function, strength becomes effective, actions become meaningful, and energy is never wasted. Anything else is empty effort, a performance without consequence. Consider the essence of efficiency. A motion executed beautifully, but without intent, carries no impact. A movement that is simple yet deliberate, that arises naturally from understanding and necessity, becomes powerful. Function gives form its strength, and form enhances function by guiding it with structure and clarity. In this way, the external appearance is no longer the goal. It is a reflection of inner mastery. You will find that when purpose drives your actions, form becomes effortless, fluid, and precise. There is no excess, no tension, no hesitation, only the seamless integration of thought, intention, and motion. This principle is not limited to the physical realm. In speech, in thought, in leadership, and in life, the same truth applies. Words without intention fall flat. Gestures without purpose are meaningless. And effort without direction becomes wasted energy. Function should always guide the shape of your actions. When your purpose is clear, the appropriate form emerges naturally. You do not force it. You do not overcomplicate it. It grows from understanding, from awareness, from insight. Form becomes the vehicle for the power of function, and function breathes life into form. Many struggle because they confuse form with mastery. They labor over appearances, over the way things should look, while neglecting the underlying reason for doing them. But a master does not concern themselves with looks. They concern themselves with effect. Each motion, each decision, each engagement is measured against its usefulness, its impact, its necessity. When you adopt this mindset, every action is optimized, every effort carries weight, every gesture moves with purpose. Strength is no longer wasted, energy is preserved, and presence becomes undeniable. The beauty of aligning form with function is that it creates freedom. You are not bound by rigid expectations or imitation. You are free to adapt, to flow, to innovate, and to act with precision. Form is no longer a cage. It is a guide. Function is no longer invisible. It manifests in every deliberate action. Through this alignment, mastery is no longer a distant goal. It is realized in every movement, every breath, every choice. Let purpose guide your form, and your actions will carry power, clarity, and impact. The difference is subtle, yet profound. A reaction is a reflex. It is the body or mind striking before true comprehension has emerged. A response is informed, calculated, and aligned. To respond is to act with clarity and purpose, guided by insight rather than impulse. It allows you to maintain calm, to preserve energy, and to achieve outcomes that reaction alone could never deliver. In conflict, in conversation, in every encounter, those who respond hold the power, while those who react give it away. Consider the movements of the skilled fighter. When faced with an attack, the untrained reacts with panic or force, often committing errors that can cost them. The trained responds. They anticipate, they read, they adjust. Every action is measured, deliberate, and effective. Timing and perception are the true weapons. The same principle applies to life. Challenges will come, distractions will arise, and provocations will test your patience. The reactive mind lashes out, struggles, and becomes entangled. The responsive mind observes, adapts, and moves in harmony with what is. This does not mean passivity or submission. To respond is to engage fully, yet wisely. It is the difference between striking blindly and striking with precision. It is the difference between saying the first word in anger and speaking the word that carries meaning. The responsive approach transforms obstacles into opportunities, resistance into guidance, and tension into flow. It allows you to conserve strength while maximizing impact. By responding, you transform situations rather than being overwhelmed by them. Every moment becomes a chance to practice this art. Breathing, observing, feeling the rhythm of life, and choosing action with purpose. These are the hallmarks of a responsive mind. Each decision is deliberate, each movement intentional, and each interaction powerful. Reaction is uncontrolled, response is mastery. When you cultivate the ability to respond, you are no longer a puppet of circumstance, but the architect of your own energy, your own power, your own presence. Respond, do not react, and you will move through life with clarity, precision, and unshakable strength. Strength is not always what it appears to be. Many mistake loudness, aggression, and force for power, believing that the one who pushes hardest or shouts the loudest is the strongest. But real strength is subtle. It is quiet, composed, and unwavering. It does not need to prove itself, because its presence is felt without effort. The loud and obvious may capture attention for a moment, but the subtle and steady exerts influence far beyond what is seen. True strength does not seek validation. It exists naturally, effortlessly, and persistently. Consider the wind. It cannot be held. It cannot be grasped. And yet it shapes the world around it. Trees bend, waves form, and leaves scatter, all in response to a force that is invisible, calm, and patient. The same principle applies to human strength. When you cultivate quiet power, you move through life with a presence that commands without confrontation, guides without coercion, and impacts without struggle. Those who rely on noise and brute force may win battles, but the one with subtle strength wins life. Their influence is enduring, their actions precise, and their energy unshakable. Subtle strength is rooted in self-mastery. It is the result of discipline, awareness, and control over mind and body. It is not flashy or dramatic, but it is steady and reliable. People are drawn to it because it radiates confidence and clarity. There is no tension, no effortful display, no need to dominate. It is the calm in the storm, the composed hand in chaos, the quiet voice that guides decisions with insight. Those who possess it do not exhaust themselves trying to force outcomes. They allow their presence, their knowledge, and their timing to carry the weight of influence. This strength extends beyond the physical into thought, emotion, and interaction. Anger may seem powerful, but it dissipates quickly. Calm, thoughtful presence endures. A gentle word, a deliberate action, a poised decision carries far more weight than shouting or forcing. The world responds not to aggression but to mastery, not to effort alone but to clarity, not to loudness but to composed action. When you understand this, you begin to see power in places where others see weakness, and you act with an efficiency and authority that cannot be shaken. The paradox is simple yet profound. The quieter your strength, the more it resonates. The less you struggle to prove it, the more undeniable it becomes. True power is a force that flows naturally, without tension, without exhibition, without need. It exists in alignment with mind, body, and circumstance, and it is most effective when it is unseen, yet unmistakably felt. Be subtle, be steady, and your strength will speak louder than any shout. Strength is not always what it appears to be. Many mistake loudness, aggression, and force for power, believing that the one who pushes hardest or shouts the loudest is the strongest. But real strength is subtle. It is quiet, composed, and unwavering. It does not need to prove itself, because its presence is felt without effort. The loud and obvious may capture attention for a moment, but the subtle and steady exerts influence far beyond what is seen. True strength does not seek validation. It exists naturally, effortlessly and persistently. Consider the wind. It cannot be held, it cannot be grasped, and yet it shapes the world around it. Trees bend, waves form, and leaves scatter, all in response to a force that is invisible, calm, and patient. The same principle applies to human strength. When you cultivate quiet power, you move through life with a presence that commands without confrontation, guides without coercion, and impacts without struggle. Those who rely on noise and brute force may win battles, but the one with subtle strength wins life. Their influence is enduring, their actions precise, and their energy unshakable. Subtle strength is rooted in self-mastery. It is the result of discipline, awareness, and control over mind and body. It is not flashy or dramatic, but it is steady and reliable. People are drawn to it because it radiates confidence and clarity. There is no tension, no effortful display, no need to dominate. It is the calm in the storm, the composed hand in chaos, the quiet voice that guides decisions with insight. Those who possess it do not exhaust themselves trying to force outcomes. They allow their presence, their knowledge, and their timing to carry the weight of influence. This strength extends beyond the physical into thought, emotion, and interaction. Anger may seem powerful, but it dissipates quickly. Calm, thoughtful presence endures. A gentle word, a deliberate action, a poised decision carries far more weight than shouting or forcing. The world responds not to aggression, but to mastery. Not to effort alone, but to clarity. Not to loudness, but to composed action. When you understand this, you begin to see power in places where others see weakness. And you act with an efficiency and authority that cannot be shaken. The paradox is simple yet profound. The quieter your strength, the more it resonates. The less you struggle to prove it, the more undeniable it becomes. True power is a force that flows naturally, without tension, without exhibition, without need. It exists in alignment with mind, body, and circumstance. And it is most effective when it is unseen, yet unmistakably felt. Be subtle, be steady, and your strength will speak louder than any shout.